Welcome to 5 Good Minutes.
You're listening to today's inspirational message on the book of Hebrews with Brady Randall.
I want you to think about the most restful, peaceful experience that you can imagine. Get a picture of what that looks like and feels like. A few images come to mind for me personally, but what it really feels like is ultimate fulfillment, peace, my satisfied soul at rest, no anxiety, maybe reading a good book, feeling an ocean breeze, my favorite people all around me. I think about seasons or work that have been brutal, that have taken a lot of hours, that have caused a lot of blood and sweat and tears. And then having completed the project, to then sit down with a cold glass of water on the back porch with the breeze blowing. There's a real sense of completion, satisfaction, accomplishment. The work is finally over. Now I can finally rest. That feeling that all that you've desired is now complete. And I think that's a picture of what God is offering in the rest that he offers. And I'll pick up with verse 5 through 11 of Hebrews 4, and it says this. And again, in the passage above, he says, "They shall never enter my rest. Therefore, since it still remains for some to enter that rest, and since those who formerly had the good news proclaimed to them did not go in because of their disobedience, God again set a certain day, calling it today. This he did when a long time later he spoke through David, as in the passage above, today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts. For if Joshua had given them rest, God would not have spoken later about another day. There remains then a Sabbath rest for the people of God. For anyone who enters God's rest also rests from their works, just as God did from his. Let us therefore make every effort to enter that rest so that no one will perish by following the example of disobedience." So the writer, again, using Old Testament references, since the readers would have been steeped in the Old Testament, he says that God offered this rest in the time of Moses. God offered this rest in the time of David, and he's still offering it today. God rested from all of his work on the seventh day, leaving an example for his people. And just as God rested, he now offers that rest to his people. And for the Israelites, that rest was from wandering in the wilderness. The rest was offered in the promised land. However, this rest occurred in the days of Joshua, and Psalm 95, which is the psalm that he's quoting here, he quotes it with the word today, which is after Joshua's day, which indicates that this Sabbath rest is still available to God's people today. Now, there's an intentional parallel, I believe, here, using the person of Joshua and Jesus, which actually they both share the same name, Yeshua. What was ultimately fulfilled is now available through Jesus. In other words, a spiritual Sabbath rest for God's people. And verses 10 and 11 says that there is a call to strive to enter that rest. This means making every effort to pursue and obtain what Christ has already obtained for those who trust in him. Now, this is not a striving to earn your way to heaven or this heavenly rest, but it is resting in the finished work of Jesus. But resting in the finished work of Jesus, that does not preclude persevering in the faith until the end. It includes continuing to trust in Jesus. The ESV Study Bible notes that this rest includes ceasing from the spiritual striving that respect uncertainty from one's final destiny, enjoyment of being established in the presence of God, and sharing in the everlasting joy that God entered when he rested on the seventh day. You see, the journey of the Christian life is not for the faint of heart. It's not all roses and butterflies. It's not easy. It requires faith and perseverance, holding on to the one who continues to hold on to you, striving to enter this rest. But Jesus did promise it'll be worth it in the end, for a heavenly Sabbath rest for all eternity. So therefore, I want to encourage you, friends, today, lift your eyes to the one who continues to invite you into that rest even today.
Thanks for joining us here today. There's a lot of great content to explore on Orchard Hill Plus and on the Orchard Hill main feed from the weekend. Have a great day.